All right.
Welcome, Shiobhan. We are here live. It's Gina Ricci and Shiobhan Olivero, rising above
Yeah.
everything we've ever been through in life to get to the other side and have more peace, passion, purpose, and possibilities. And very grateful to be here with you. We missed last week. We took a little hiatus. I have taken a new position with Unblinded, which we are both part of and both met there. So I'm very excited and mostly because this is all about influencing with integrity and through the heart with integrity. And what we're speaking about today is really about all about integrity and something we're both super passionate about, the book The Four Agreements, which is like my Bible. So welcome, Shiobhan.
Well, thanks, Gina. Yeah, so we did miss last week. We had a brief hiatus, but we're back on a new day and new time. So we will be here Thursdays at 5:30, helping you rise above and getting through those painful times with peace and power and passion and pride. And so, yes, and as we talked about briefly, just to follow up from our first show, I am Shiobhan Olivero, and I am a licensed Florida attorney as well as a certified divorce coach, and also getting certified in Jack Canfield Success Principles. And out in this world to help people overcome and to rise above, and as everything that we mentioned, and getting through everything with peace, with pride, with power, and with passion. So Gina is an amazing person. She is a love coach. So Gina, tell them about what you do.
Yeah. Really briefly, I am a coach of. I stand for love. So what I really have found that I do well and I like to do is to really help people see that the love within them can actually help them live, more passionate, more peaceful life if they just own their love. Literally, the love for themselves, the love for others, allow that to live in everything they do and everything they say. Does that make sense? Really just can be able to convey things with love through the heart, with integrity. And I believe that love is the fuel for happiness, for success, for abundance. I really do, and I don't just mean romantic love, of course that is, but truly self love, and that's what took for me to really get to that other side. So it's really what I like to teach on, and it's why I was invited to work at Unblinded because I get to be the welcoming committee to anyone who comes to Unblinded and welcome them with love and see the love that's within them, and I'm really excited about that. So that, just that's just part of what I'm doing right now is being the Real Raw Open coordinator. We'll talk about that towards the end a little bit because it's been powerful for both you and me in discussing and connecting with people, I should say, and communicating with people through the heart with integrity. And we are talking about integrity. The first agreement of the Four Agreements, the book, The Four Agreements, everybody, if you have not read it, it is truly one of the most, it's a simple, small little book that can completely change your life. It's like, it was literally like when people say they go to the Bible for it, I'm like, oh, which agreement am I not listening to right now?
Yes, and as I posted about our show today, that is exactly what I put, where I told everybody to tune in because we are going to talk about something that was so life changing for me, and that if you really take it to heart and you really just take to what the book says, it can be life changing for you. And it is exactly like that, Gina. I keep it by my bed. I read it all the time because it's definitely not one of those books that you read once and you put to the side. It's a book that you live with. It's a book that you have to read to put inside of you to grow and to just I think you and I mesh so well because our purpose and what we try to do is try to help people become the best people they can be in this world and send that out into the world. But also we strive to be the best people that we can be in the world. And the four agreements, what Don Miguel Ruiz talks about when he writes the book, are the four agreements that you make with yourself, right? The four agreements that you live by in yourself to become the best person that you can be in love and in integrity. So over the
Yeah.
next 4 weeks, we are going to talk about the four agreements. And so today we're going to talk about agreement number 1, which is to be impeccable with your word. So Gina, why don't you tell everybody what you got from the book and what that means to you from being impeccable with your word?
Absolutely. And I, like Siobhan, reflect on the four agreements all the time. I have like, you can look it up and get little blurbs about it, like on a sheet. I have that hanging in a few different places in my home so I can quickly see those agreements in front of me. And the first agreement, be impeccable with your word, is um, literally being honest in everything you say and do. Everything you say and do for yourself, for others. Like, it means being honest with yourself. Like, if someone makes an excuse about something, right? An excuse saying, suppose you're running late to go to a friend's house, something simple, not a big deal, but you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late. I had a call," but that's not true. It's such a small little lie, but it's a debit to your own soul. It doesn't really matter to your friend if you're running late, probably. Just telling the truth is that you don't have to explain anything. For me, that's a really big piece of it,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to over explain everything. I used to be like, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, so I'm going to tell them a different story, which is part of another agreement about assuming, like making up a story like she's going to care. But we'll come to that when we get to that agreement. But like, that person's not going to, they just tell the truth and say, "Oh, my apologies, please forgive me, I'm late." That's it, because that's actually half the time that is the truth. And like, okay, move on, right? Just telling the absolute truth to yourself, to others. There's no reason, because any little lie, it's a debit to your own soul. And that's the way I see it. So I really, really live well, listen, I don't, there are times that I can't, if I say what I mean and mean what I say, then I'm walking my walk, right? And I really aim to do that on a daily basis. And that is absolutely my own journey. It means a lot. That is what integrity is to me. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And sometimes we fall behind and go, "Oh, I'm human. Okay, I wasn't able to follow through with that." But if it, if I have the intention, and the intention comes from the heart, and my truth, then it is still the truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you feel about that?
Yes.
How does that affect you in your life?
That resonates so much, and I will tell you what I got from the book, and the things that I took from it, with being impeccable with your word. And of course, as Don Miguel Ruiz points out, there are two key words in that, which is impeccable and word, because the word is so powerful. And literally, as I'm saying this, I have goosebumps coming down my arms, right? Our word is powerful. Our words create meaning. Our words create life. Our words create our life, right? And so what we say really matters. And what you say to other people really matters, if what you say that to that other person, they believe and they take in, right? Which of course is another agreement that we'll get to later, of not taking anything personally. This is how they all work together. But if that person does, and how it affects them. And just to kind of bring this to a little bit of a concept of what he talks about and what he means. This is the one that was the most powerful to me. He gives a couple of examples in the book of being impeccable with your word, or how your words really affect you and how it affects other people. And this one resonated with me because it's something that I dealt with, and that was so strong for me. And so I just want to take a minute to read this part that he talks about in the book, and the story that he gives. And it says, there was a woman, for example, who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter whom she adored and loved very much. One night she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, and with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, but her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. She was in her own world, in her own dream. She felt wonderful. She was jumping, singing louder and louder, expressing her joy and her love. She was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache even worse. And at a certain moment, the mother lost control. Angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up. You have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" And
my heart hurts every time we hear that. Yeah, go on.
The truth is that the mother's tolerance for any noise was non-existent. It wasn't that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said. And in that moment, she, the daughter, made an agreement with herself. After that, she no longer sang, because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Even speaking to others became difficult for her. everything changed in the little girl because of this new agreement. She believed she must repress her emotions. In my case, I always read that to repress your voice, because that's what I did in order to become accepted and loved. And it skips down where he just says, how many times do we do this with our own children? We give them these types of opinions, and our children carry that for years and years. People who love us do this to us, but they don't know what they do, and we must forgive them even though they don't know what they do. And that is just was so powerful for me when I read that, because it just reinforced into me how powerful what we say really is, how powerful our word is, and why it's so important to be impeccable. And so as he goes on further in that chapter, he just says being impeccable with your word is being in love, right?
Yes.
Speaking love, speaking from integrity, and if speaking to yourself, because it's not, that's just a story of how it affects outside, right? Saying what we say to ourselves is just as impactful to ourselves. So if I love me and I speak love to me, then I'm going to speak love to you, and you're going to speak to you. But if I speak negative to me, and I speak jealousy, and I speak, any of the negative terms, then you're going to receive negativity, and you're going to be negative to me. So that is how we spread love, right? And that is how we begin to show love. So
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful examples, and so true, Shiobhan. It's so powerful. People don't realize how powerful it is. And I love Jack. Speaking of Jack Canfield, because I'm also, I am also one of his students, where he really shows how our muscles actually get weak when we think negative about ourselves or others. We actually literally weaken ourselves. It's really amazing when you look up the muscle testing, and it's super powerful. So when we are speaking words of kindness and living in that love and that space, and that's what I talk about when I say I stand for love. That's truth. That is truth. That is truth. And that is what the world really does need. And sometimes we cut ourselves so short, we don't even know we're doing it. We limit ourselves with those negative words, saying like, I can't afford this, right? Or like, it took me a while. That's a big one, right?
yes.
That is one. How many people say that all the time? And same with me. I did for many years, until I realized what it was actually doing was keeping me not affording things.
Right.
As soon as I dropped that, literally, and started to really own that love and that truth and that honesty and integrity, and that, because it's such a you can't, it's hard to not like think like that. We're so conditioned. But when the truth of our soul really is that we can do anything we want once we get beyond our limitations, which is what we're doing all this for, because there is so much peace and power and possibility beyond our limitations.
Right.
Just beyond our own personal thought process and our limitations and our truth, which is love and honor, and honoring our words and honesty. And it makes, it's truly impactful when we can just say, like, I can do anything I want if I can just really take those steps to beyond, to get beyond those limitations, and believe this. Here's one truth and honor and honesty and like impeccable word: when you believe in yourself, really believing in yourself, and believing in those words of honor and those integritous words to ourselves.
Yes.
I saw you thinking about something.
Keeping your word is so important, because that is what also being impeccable to your word means to me, is keeping your word, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to keep some commitments, or that things are going to fall apart, or that things are going to happen and come in between. But, we're working in love, and we understand that. But, and the one that I struggle with, and the one that I think is most important, is keeping your word to yourself, right? The broken promises to ourself are the things that really defeat what we're doing. And it actually is a thing that defeats our self-confidence the most, right? Yes. So if you keep your promises to yourself, so if you tell yourself, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and work out, and you don't, then, your subconscious starts to not believe you anymore, right? You start to develop that I can't trust myself. And
Yeah.
that starts to go outward. If I can't trust myself, how is anybody else going to trust me? How is anybody else want to do business with me? How is anybody else
Yeah.
going to, trust that I can help them through situations if I can't trust myself, right? So
Yeah.
keeping your agreements and your words to yourself and your promises to yourself is the other thing that I got out of that. And I really
Yeah.
took that to heart, as I would, so, in my law firm, as I would tell clients, that, a lot of my clients, I do criminal defense. A lot of my clients are in jail. So when they would call and say, when are you coming to see me? And I would say, I will come out next Wednesday to see you. And next Wednesday rolls around and I am tired and I don't feel good. Before I started studying this stuff, it was very easy for me to go, I'll go next week, right? Something will happen. But as I live with these agreements now, and every time I think about going, oh, I'm so tired, like that
Mm-hmm.
little thing clicks in. It says, be impeccable with your word. You told them you were coming, keep it. And I do. And I will tell you, even when I show up at 9 o'clock at night, they're like, I can't believe you're here this late. And I told you I was coming today. So
Yeah.
I did, right?
So I'm
And
here. Yeah.
they're trusting me. So that is what it means to me, and how powerful it is, and just how powerful it's been in my life. So,
Wow. Well, me too. I'm right there with you. It's super powerful. And it's the reason, if we can segue, I really want to talk about Unblinded because it's what brought me there.
yes.
It's really truly what Sean Callaghan teaches is integrity,
Mm-hmm.
influencing with integrity. That's called having, conversations with true integrity right from your heart. And that, he has shown that he has been so successful in his life doing that, um, by just having those really integritous conversations. And so he's created this incredible, cool thing called the Real Raw, which is what I now get to be the coordinator of. And I'm so excited because it keeps me in the space that's important to me of integrity and honor, and bringing goodness to the world, and helping people see how much that, like, the living these four agreements and living with speaking with integrity, honoring yourself, you're being impeccable with your word, really matters. And that, and what an impact it makes. And on the Real Raw, you get, it's an opportunity to have a like up to 15 people in one place, where you get the opportunity to share your word, you to share who you are and what you're up to in the world with all these people at one time. So they get to see the magnificence that you are. They get to see the what makes you feel lit up, and makes you, makes magic in your life. And they get to, some of the people who get to give feedback can amplify that in you, and they get to amplify what they see in you. Would you say that's your experience? You've actually, you've been running them yourself for quite a while. So tell me, if you wouldn't mind talking about that a little bit, because I would love more people to understand the power. Like, what is the power of the Unblinded and the Real Raw in speaking about integrity?
Yeah, they're very powerful, right? And as you said, it's being on there with other amazing people in the world, right? Because
Yeah.
that is who we search out, right? That's who we want to be. We want, people who are heart centered, people who love people, people who want to grow, personally and professionally, right? Their business and in themselves. And so being able to be on a call with 15 other people that all share that with you, and get to share who you are and what you bring to the world. And then they get to share who they are and what they bring to the world. And you get to meet and make these connections that, are just can do amazing things for you and for your business. And then to be able to practice, being in integrity and influencing
Yeah.
somebody with integrity and with love, and how you get somebody to that, and getting feedback on how you could do that even better, how you could
Yeah.
get better at that, because we should always be striving to be better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they are so powerful, and the formula is so powerful. And being able to experience this with everybody is, I mean, I'm blown away by everything. You know,
Yeah.
and you are in the perfect position for where you're at, because, we've got to spend a lot of time together, and your smile is infectious, and your personality is infectious, and your heart is so pure and so true. And I love you dearly,
Mm.
and you are a person that is true, and that is impeccable with your word, and that is truly a shining light of love in this world.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you. But you know, I like this is what it is too. Like, thank you, Shiobhan. Like, thank you for acknowledging all of that you see in me. And then my impeccable word in the past would have been like, oh no, in my head, right? But now I say, oh yes, thank you. I can see all that in me now. Thank you. And I can also see all of that love, honor, integrity that shine from you, that you go out in the world to do good, to be good, to make an impact, that you are infectious, that you make that heart to heart connection with ease and grace because it's you live it. This because this the four agreements is what you live by. You live by these integritous um agreements with yourself,
Mhm.
and it's not about anybody else. And
Yeah,
when you're doing that on a daily basis, it matters. It matters in every, and then all the abundance starts to flow to you even more.
absolutely.
And I know that you have, felt it, and these people are magnetized. You all of a sudden are start magnetizing the right people in your life, the right connections in your life, the right business connections, the right people that are that come to you for inspiration
Mhm.
and to make that impact. So I love it. And so thanks for talking a little bit about Unblinded because I am super passionate about it. And I'm excited that I get to, like welcome people into the real raws and talk about that. Cause I think they're pretty in fact impactful. And, we've met through Unblinded and I'm just super grateful. And I love that we're talking about the four agreements. So, we'll be speaking about agreement number 2 next week, which is don't take anything
Don't take anything
personally.
personally. My favorite agreement of all four of them. This is the agreement that literally changed my life.
Me
Um,
too. I want to like high five you. I want to
yes,
hug
high
you. I want to
five.
like,
Because I took everything personally. So I cannot wait for next week when we talk about that agreement and get to share that with everybody and what we learned from it and how impactful it is and how you cannot take things personally and how he explains that and how you can live that and be that. Now, as we said, we're human, right? I still struggle
yeah.
with it, right? But you get an awareness, right? So when
Mm.
I exactly what I just said, with being impeccable with your word, right? It's that awareness. Now it's that thing that comes into your head as you're like, nope, you said you would go, you have to go. Right. And it's the same thing with the next agreement. Like you feel it personally, and then that little thing pops in and it's like, nope, nope, I know how to deal with this now. And you just take a minute, right? And come
Yeah.
back to center. So that is my
Yeah.
tip for you, for everybody
Mm.
watching, is just, there's so many things out there that can help you get through the trying times and the tough times and to rise above. And this is one of those books that can help get you there. It is so powerful. And
It's
when you
powerful.
take it and you live it and you breathe it and you learn how to just, in those times that you're feeling overwhelmed, to come back to center,
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
one of the strongest ways to get through. So,
It's so true, Siobhan, and thank you for that. And both Siobhan and I coach people through this. And that's not what this is about. But if that is, if you want to know more about it, you can reach out to either one of us. It really matters when you look at that. And like for coming on to the second agreement, I learned to tell myself I am unoffendable. Like literally, I would stand in the mirror and do that when I was going through my very high conflict divorce, and it mattered because not taking anything personally matters. And sometimes we do it to ourselves, too. So we're going to talk more that next week. That's just going to be. We might be on for hours on that one because
we might be. We might be.
that one hits everybody for
Yes.
sure. So anyway, thank you for watching. You can reach out to either one of us via Facebook Messenger. Um, Look on our Facebook pages. You can find us there. You want to be on a real raw, you can let either one of us know. We can walk you through any of it and just come have fun with us if nothing else. So Siobhan, thank you for creating this platform for us. Thank you for waiting for me last week as I got through some changes, which are awesome. And I love you so much. Thank you for being the heart-centered, integritous woman that you are that's making a big impact. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you. And I love you. So
I love you too. I love you too. And by the way, everybody, we totally do live this love fest in our world of
we
all these
do. We
amazing
do. Not gonna,
people full of
we talked
integrity.
today. We talked earlier today at like 10 a.m. Right, and I think we did this like for 5 minutes before we finally ended the call.
And I'm telling you, it's like even right now, I'm like, I love you. I want to tell you more. And I feel that about like everyone in our community, and I feel that about everyone. So it's we both like to see the love in people that they don't even see in themselves. And I think that's one of the biggest ways our work elevates people to find their
Yes.
Right. All of the opportunities their life it can be, all the love that they can be in the world. Like I love to say, I like to be the love I want to see in the world. That's truly my mantra. So, and you are that. You are love. So I appreciate you. Thank you guys all for watching. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Hi.
Bye.